I survived my birth mother's D&E abortion that aborted my twin next to me, and I've always wondered what my twin actually experienced, and what maybe I experienced in the womb next to my twin. Could you describe maybe what both of us would have experienced?
A lot depends on the anesthesia that your mother was given. Again, in a procedure that I would have done, it was under a light general anesthetic. That anesthetic will eventually anesthetize a fetus in the womb. It takes about 8 or 9 minutes for those anesthetics to circulate into the uterus. Before then, they would feel everything as far as being pulled apart. I know I'm no expert on fetal pain. I've done amniocentesis, just amniocentesis for diagnostic procedures. You're putting a needle into the amniotic sac where the baby is. And you can hit the baby with a needle. You can't see them. And you can feel them pull away. And we're talking 16 and 17 weeks. So anyone who sits there and tells you that these fetuses can't feel pain, I don't believe that for a minute. So they would feel the pain of being dismembered until and unless that anesthesia kicked in. If they're even using the kind of anesthesia that would do that.
And in our case, there was no anesthesia, just a paracervical block, which just blocks the pain in the cervix, but the baby would not have been anesthetized at all. But again, it depends what your mother had. If she was feeling the pain, the baby was feeling the pain. It's so hard to be with abortion survivors, knowing that, I was a perpetrator, I'm the evil one. I'm just thankful for your forgiveness, which you've both given me. I'm sorry, sorry for all of us. But it's also very healing, I'm just thankful that God, ran after me and grabbed me out of that situation and allows me now to try to save babies instead of killing them.
From what I know, my abortionist didn't practice anymore after I survived.
Interesting. Sounds like that person was needing to find another career anyway.
Yeah.
Clearly wasn't very good at what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about my abortionist and even my grandmother was a nurse, right? She was either helping to deliver babies, or now I know at least one abortion, and I would suspect there were more. But when I think about the final days of his life, I've always wondered if he ever thought of me. And I don't know that you can answer that.
I can only speak for myself. Yeah, I think about them. I lost my daughter before her 6th birthday. My brother Mark was my closest friend in the world. He died of cancer 12 years ago. And I believe, certainly I want to believe, but I do believe that when my time comes, the two of them are going to be there. I'll know it's time because they're going to be there. I believe that. But it scares the hell out of me that maybe those 1,200 kids are going to be there too.
I would think he would have to think about you. I think about the babies that I aborted, and they didn't survive. I think the fact that he stopped practicing after you were born, that he must have thought about you.
Are there any other questions or anything else that either of you would like to say, or either of you would like to say to one another?
It amazes me that people in government even can get up and say that there are no abortion survivors, that we don't need laws to protect them. And we heard people like Jill and you, and we know that abortion survivors are there, and we know that they're being left to just die or actively killed, and that there've got to be protections.
Well, and for me, when they dismiss us and marginalize us and try to shame us and silence us, I always like to remind people they're silencing and shaming the women, our birth mothers and mothers who are going through it. And they're doing the same to clinic workers, abortionists, healthcare workers. And so in the grand scheme of things, all of us are so much more alike in that respect. We have an abortion experience, and it's inconvenient to the narrative when it comes to abortion. And I think that's one of those things that brings all of us together as we know the truth. And we see one another's humanity. I look at you, Dr. Aultman, and I don't ever think, oh, that's the former abortionist. I think, oh, there's Dr. Aultman.
I think about Dr. Nathanson and how, he was instrumental in Roe v. Wade being passed. But as soon as he had his conversion and saw the baby in the womb on ultrasound and realized, what he was doing and changed his mind, then he was some crazy person who didn't know what he was talking about. Totally discounted.
Yeah, thank y'all very much for being willing to admit what you've done and allow it to be used to expose the truth and to protect women like our birth mothers. We really do appreciate that. I know it can't be easy.
And I got to say this too, women need to know that the whole thing is a big lie, that abortion is not the answer. We don't need abortion to succeed, and it is not health care. So much of abortion is a huge lie, and we're telling the truth about it.
Thank you all for being willing to sit here and share your stories.
Lila, thank you for bringing us all together and for hosting this forum so that we could meet and speak and tell the truth.
It takes a lot of courage and vulnerability. Thank you.